you very much for having me here. It's really exciting to be in front of this crowd here with academics people and with practitioners. So this is a joint work with Pedro Rebiel and also Roman Sheremeta. Roman is with us here also. So the aim of the project, we have actually, we are examining three different questions, related three different questions. So first, we like to see how do luck and effort affect individual giving decisions. Secondly, do people make different giving decisions when they are informed or uninformed regarding what determines income? And finally, we also have a cross-cultural component. We do this experiment at University of Michigan and also at University of Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona. Okay, so we will also look at how our subjects make, whether they make different giving decisions. Okay, so I will talk about two aspects that are related to our study. First, culture. There are several studies that show that culture may play an important role in terms of how people give. And secondly, perceptions regarding what determines income could also be important in terms of the redistributive decisions. For example, if individuals believe that poverty is caused by circumstances beyond individual control, they are more likely to support redistributive policies. Okay, so now I like to talk about some differences that we observe in redistribution between United States and Europe. Now, first of all, we know that most European countries are much more redistributive than United States, but we also know that Americans give much higher levels they make higher levels of charitable donations. One simple explanation could be, of course, well, it's because Europeans believe that it's the government's job to redistribute, and whereas in the United States, it's people like to do this by themselves, okay? But what I like to talk about is actually the net redistribution. And in terms of the net redistribution, it's still true that Europeans are more redistributive. Okay, so it looks like Americans could actually do better in terms of redistribution. Well, one reason why we have this gap could be maybe perceptions are different. So Americans, actually there are several studies that find that Americans believe that effort is the main, is a determinant of income, whereas in Europe, individuals are more heavily believing that luck and connections determine income. Okay, so what we like to do in this study is, first of all, we like to look at how individuals give. When income is determined partly by effort and partly by luck. Secondly, we like to see whether individuals give differently when they don't know how income is generated. We like to see whether our subjects in Michigan give differently than our subjects in Barcelona. And finally, we actually like to look at the interaction effects of these two things. So maybe when all the information is provided, maybe there is no difference. So this is a controlled environment. But then maybe there is not enough information. Maybe then we will start seeing differences in how people give. So we conducted 16 sessions at University of Michigan and also at University of Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona. 280 subjects participated. Subjects earned tokens, which was then converted to US dollars or euros. Instructions were initially prepared in English, then translated to Spanish, and we did have some consistency checks. Experiments were double-blind, so subjects were actually assured that experimenter will not see how much they give to the other subject, and we use computerized experiments. Okay, our experiment consists of 3 parts. The first part is a real effort task. Well, I will talk about the details. In the second part, we have details later. So in the second part, we have the dictator decision. And finally, in part 3, we have a short survey. Let me go through all these parts in detail now. So in part 1, subjects are actually asked to work on a real effort task. It's not an effort choice, but real effort task. They were, they're asked to count the sum of A and D characters in 300 sequences like this. It's more than anyone can do. Nobody did that much. The aim was just to make sure to give them as many as possible and let them know that they are free to work on this as much as they like. They can stop whenever they want. We provided them with newspapers, so they had other, possibly other things to do. If they want to work on other stuff, that was fine. But the task here was really important to us, so we decided we don't want to do tournaments. So the payment was a piece rate. So every time they have a correct count, they did get 1 token from the task. What else? Yeah. So, and then their earnings, they were told at the beginning that their earnings was equal to number of correct counts plus a random number. This random number was drawn from 5 possible numbers, minus 50, minus 25, 0, 25, and 50, with equal chances. Okay, so in part 2, we use a dictator decision. So each subject is matched randomly with another subject. They are asked to decide how much they would like to transfer to this other participant. Of course, everything is anonymous here. At the end of part 2, computer randomly selects one of these subjects and their decision is implemented, but it's just one-time decision. And the most important thing here is that in part 2, now we have, so for different treatments, we have different instructions. If it's the informed treatment, subjects, that they always know their own correct counts and their own random numbers from part 1. But in the information treatment, they also know the random number and the correct number of counts for the other participant. In the no information condition, they only know the income of the other participant, but they don't know how this income is determined. Okay, so how much of it is effort, how much of it is luck, they don't know. In a surprise question, after they make their transfer decisions, we ask those beliefs. So since it's easier to ask for the random number, we ask for, what is your guess regarding the random number of the other subject? Okay, since they know the earnings, whatever the random number is, the earnings minus that is, of course, gives us their guess on the correct counts as well. This was incentivized, so if they did get it right, they have an additional 10 tokens. All right, so in the questionnaire, we asked them, how hard did you work in the in the first part of the experiment? We asked, several information of demographics, but most importantly, we asked them, is this working? Oh, yes. How would you place your views on this? Hard work doesn't bring success. It is more a matter of luck and connections. Now, this was really crucial for us, and it was really reassuring to see that the results that we get in this question are exactly the same things that we would have gotten from questionnaires like word values survey. So people at the University of Pompeu-Fabra were much more heavily agreeing with this statement that hard work doesn't bring success compared to our subjects in Michigan. Okay, so then, this really makes sense for us because then we have these two separate groups of people, one from Michigan, one from Barcelona. They do have differing beliefs, very significantly different. If I have time, I will show you. So then, it's the information treatment really becomes very important for us. So just to give you a summary, so we do look at two things. We have a cross-cultural component, but also independent from that, it's really important for us to understand, for Americans or for Spanish people, how does information have any effect? If I'm not informed, how do I give versus if I'm informed? Okay, here are some statistics. So if we look at all the data, comparing the information treatment and the no information treatment, so these are only averages, and for now I'm only talking about non-parametric tests, there is really no difference. Okay, so being uninformed doesn't seem to have any effect on the transfers or the percentage of positive transfers. When we separate this in terms of different countries, now we see an interesting pattern that's emerging here. In Spain, when they are not informed, they increase their, even not significantly, but we see that they increase their transfers, and percentage of positive transfers also higher. In the United States, it's the other way around. So they decrease their transfers, and there's less percentage of positive transfers. Now, with non-parametric tests, these are not significant, but what's significant is, highly significant is, when you compare no information condition in Spain versus the United States, we do see that these differences are significant. So there is much less giving in the United States when they are uninformed, and when they're uninformed, they do get, the percentage of positive transfers also decrease. This is not the case for the informed condition. Okay. By the way, this is a typo. These are now Tobit regressions. Since we have a censored dependent variable at 0, we decided to switch to a Tobit regression. So what I show here is that I pull the data for now, and I only look at the information treatment and the no information treatment. And I see that people do give more as their luck here, and they also give less if they have if they see higher correct numbers. In the no information condition, what we see is that they also give more if they're here, and interestingly, they give more if they see the other earnings is higher. And we think that while it's not the case in the information treatment, now they do seem to reward other effort when it's the no information condition. This is not happening in the information condition. We do have additional analysis, but I have no time to show it for here. I'm happy to talk later. So now looking at the cross-cultural comparison, so for the information condition, we added a US dummy. Oh, okay, I'll try to be quick. And then we also interacted it with the other variables, no effect. Look at the no information condition. When people are not informed, we see the differences. Americans give less on average, and when you interact, you actually see that it's not that they dislike to give less, but it's that they condition their giving differently. Okay, and if you look at the effects of information now, how information makes things different. Overall, we see that it makes it different because it puts a different frame. When people are uninformed, they start rewarding effort. They see that someone with higher earnings, they actually give more. This is true for Spain. In the United States, if they're uninformed, they give less. Now, for practitioners, I like to just highlight this, that it's important to provide more information in the United States if you want to generate higher donations. And the difference comes because now Americans don't give more as they're luckier. Okay, so they switch to a different frame of giving. And very surprisingly, we didn't expect this to happen. It is not because of beliefs. Look at the dummy for United States. They do the similar kind of Bayesian updating. When they see the numbers, they update the same way, the Americans and the Spanish subjects. So I think this is really about when it's the no information condition, these people switch to a different kind of giving heuristics. Since I don't have time, I just want to quickly mention, when we ask subjects, how hard did you work? Well, even though slightly Spanish subjects.
I'm told that I have to stop you.
Okay,
now.
This was very exciting, but I will tell.
I feel very evil, but
no problem.
unfortunately, time
I will
flies.
talk about this later with anyone interested.